The meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, June 7th, 2023. It's 9 a.m. Commission Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Eckert.
Here.
Commissioner Goodwin.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Brinkman.
Here.
Commissioner Erdman.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We are pleased to be here this morning at the OTC Center. This is a beautiful facility. We want to thank you for hosting us and allowing us to use this facility. Also want to thank Robert for giving us the tour yesterday. It's truly an amazing facility and project you have going on here that it's going to reap rewards well into the future. So thank you for hosting us. I have a friendly reminder for all that we are continuing to provide a live stream of our open meetings for the public to view from their home or office. If you are speaking, please make sure you speak into a microphone and that the microphone is on so the viewers may hear what is being said. We're going to start our meeting this morning with a brief safety emphasis. Aaron Underwood, General Services Manager, is going to share with us what we need to do in case of an emergency.
Chairman Eckert, Commissioners, Director McKenna, Secretary Harlan, welcome to Springfield. It's always great to have the Commission in the Southwest District. Since safety is a top value and priority at MoDOT, I have a few safety reminders this morning. In the event of a fire, everyone will exit out the rear of the room, make their way to the most convenient exit of the building, which for most of us is going to be here to the right. After exiting the building, we will all meet in front of the main entrance on the north side of the building, making sure to stay out of the path of emergency vehicles. In the case of a small fire, there's a fire extinguisher in the hallway by the elevator, and I will retrieve the fire extinguisher if needed. In the event of severe weather, we will exit out the back of the room and take shelter in the restrooms. If we must evacuate this room, please take a moment to make note of who you're sitting next to, and make sure that upon your arrival to the designated safe location, that your neighbor has arrived safely as well. If there's a medical emergency, most people in this room are CPR certified. Greg Chapman will call 911 and to direct the emergency responders to our location at 1001 East Chestnut Expressway. Keith Chandler has volunteered to administer CPR, and Wyatt Schubert will assist him if necessary. There's an AED in the hallway near the elevator, and Jody Payne will retrieve the AED in the event of a medical emergency. A sensitive subject, but one we must discuss. I want to bring to your attention what to do if there's an intruder or an active shooter. There are three basic principles to follow in the case of an active shooter: run, hide, or fight. Run and escape if possible. Getting away from the shooter or shooters is a top priority. Hide if escape is not possible. If you can't exit the building, find a safe place to hide. Try to barricade the doors. Make yourself safe by turning off cell phones and turning down the lights. Fight as an absolute last resort. Throw items, improvise weapons like chairs and fire extinguishers and books to distract and disarm the shooter. That concludes today's safety minute. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Next, I would like to recognize our special guests. We have with us today John Russell, Greene County Commissioner. Thanks for being here. And we have Mayor McClure. Thank you for being here, Mr. Mayor. I spoke with the mayor last night and said it's great to be in Springfield. It seems like every time we're in Springfield, the sun's shining. So that's right. Thank you for that. Next, I need to review a few procedural items. I want to remind everyone that we have a public comment period, and we are pleased to offer this to every Missourian that wants to come before the commission to address an issue of concern. Any of you that would like to address the commission, please sign up before 9:30 a.m. A reminder that you will have 5 minutes for public comment and 10 minutes per subject. Next, I will review our abstention process. There are commissioners that because of land ownership or business interests or lawyers may represent clients that may either have some relationship to a matter coming before the commission and may have a potential or actual conflict of interest to be considered or voted upon. The commission member will indicate if she chooses to abstain from voting or to recuse himself from participating in discussion of an agenda item. If an agenda item is divisible by contract, call, project, or the like, a commissioner may specify that particular matter and then still vote on the remainder of the agenda item. This information is provided to the commission secretary by letter in advance of the meeting. The commission secretary will duly indicate the abstentions or recusals accordingly in the minutes of the meeting. Madam Secretary, have the necessary letters been prepared? Thank you. Our first business item is an action item, is the consideration of minutes for the regular meeting on May 23rd, 2023, and a special meeting on May 2nd, 2023. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. The next business item is a consideration of items on the consent agenda. Does anyone need to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is approved. Our next order of business is to receive committee and board reports. Commissioner Brinkman serves as the chair of the audit committee and will give today's report.
Mr. Chairman, the audit committee met today and we met with the external auditors from Reuben Brown regarding our upcoming fiscal year 23 financial statement audit that is required annually by Missouri law. They're going to start working on that, and we will have our next audit committee meeting in November of 2023, and we will have a report at that time.
Thank you, Commissioner Brinkman. Commissioner Boatright and I serve as co-chairs of the legislative committee, and Commissioner Boatright will give the report this morning.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. What a day it is to be a Missourian. The historic year with the legislature funding a large amount through GR. So I'm going to talk about that here this morning. By the adjournment for the 2023 legislative session, the legislature approved investments of more than $3 billion in general revenues into the transportation infrastructure projects across the state. Here are a few examples of what that $3 billion is going to be invested in. $100 million for minor and low volume roads, $50 million for railroad safety improvements, $50 million for ports, $24 million for environmental studies on I-44, highways 36 and 63, over $10 million for aviation, and of course, the most notable, $1.4 billion in cash and another $1.4 billion in bond financing to repair and expand Interstate 70 from Blue Springs to Wentzville. Can we get a round of applause on? Pretty awesome. These amounts of general revenues were made possible from a surplus of cash as a result of 28 months of state revenue growth and federal payments tied to COVID relief and recovery. Relating to Interstate 70, and before I go any further, I must thank Governor Parsons and Lieutenant Governor Kehoe for their leadership and foresight to make improvements on the interstate hub of the nation's interstate hub of the nation that generates a large amount of economic development in the state each year. I want to also thank the Senate Appropriations Chair, Lincoln Huff, for his forward thinking, and all of the House and Senate members who supported our budget request. And of course, I want to thank the members of MHTC who took the time out of their schedules to spend time over at the Capitol this year. So thank each of you guys. By the end of the session, the General Assembly passed 62 different legislative proposals, including 19 separate fiscal year 24 budget bills, which the governor now must consider signing into law. Two specific transportation policy measures that passed this session include the enactment of a secondary law prohibiting the use of an electronic communication device while driving. This hands-free safety initiative was part of the department's SAFER document entitled Safer Access for Everyone on the Roadways. And the second item is the creation of a Waterways and Ports Trust Fund for depositing state and federal grants and funds for local port authorities for capital improvement projects and statewide planning purposes. The reason that this port bill is such a big deal is by the time that you get through the appropriation process and you actually get that money out the door, it's such a short time frame to actually get it spent in a year. What this allows, and what's happened over the years is because of that, we're not making smart decisions on how we're investing in our ports. All at once, being able to have multi-year thought process and a way of thinking about how we're going to spend those funds is a huge deal for the state of Missouri. So this passage was a big deal this session. And both of these proposals were priorities for the commission. I'm also excited to report on the proposals that did not pass that could have impacted funding available for future transportation projects as outlined in the current statewide transportation improvement program. Some of those proposals included eliminating the 12.5 cent per gallon motor fuel tax increase passed by the legislature in 2021, allowing individuals to claim a fuel tax on their state income tax, and increasing the current fuel tax refund process to all Missouri commercial motor carriers. Fortunately, by the end of the session, no legislation was passed that could impact the day-to-day operations or deteriorate the decision-making process at the commission. We'll hear more about the results of the legislative session when Ms. Brenda Morris provides us with a summary of the fiscal year 24 budget, and Patrick will have more to add to this report in the director's report. Again, I want to say thank you to all of our safety partners and coalition members who helped pass the hands-free proposal. I also want to say thank you to Senator Jason Bean and Representative Tim Taylor for their leadership in passing the Waterways, Ports, and Trust Fund legislation. I want to thank all of our transportation partners who helped educate elected officials on the need to properly fund transportation by defeating legislation that could reduce monies already being collected and deposited into the state road fund for identified projects. What a great year to be in the transportation business in the state of Missouri. And just to really focus on this, I mean, we've got a lot of our partners in the room that spent time at the Capitol this year making this historic investment happen. We've got a lot of energy going in the right direction, so just keep up the good work that you're doing. And Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you for that great report, Commissioner Boatright. Commissioner Smith serves as president of NTFC, and Commissioner Erdman and I are board members. Commissioner Smith will provide today's report.
My report's pretty short, Mr. Chairman. There is no report this month. The next MTFC meeting is scheduled for August, so that concludes my report, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Smith, Boatright, and Erdman serve on the Emperor's Board. Today, Commissioner Boatright will provide the report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board has not met recently, but the audit and budget committees have in the month of May. Our next scheduled board meeting is June the 22nd, 2023. So just here in a few weeks. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Boatright. Commissioner Brinkman serves on the Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety Executive Committee and will provide a report today.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As of Friday, June 2nd, and 341 deaths in Missouri. 24 less than last year, 7% reduction. 2 months ago, we'd had a 22% reduction. You've had an inordinate amount of deaths down in the Springfield area here lately. The Missouri Coalition of Roadway Safety is going to spend some more money. Memorial Day kicked off what is typically the start of increased travel during the summer months. This, of course, coincides with increased road construction and maintenance activities. These are crucial months in our efforts to reduce traffic safeties, and we're asking everyone to do their part by buckling up, putting your phone down, slowing down, and planning for a sober ride home. Yesterday, we had an ad hoc committee of the executive committee to discuss the state's ongoing efforts in public outreach and education. We're committed to finding additional ways to engage more Missourians with life-saving messages of the Show Me Zero, realizing every single person can help. On that note, we'd like to express our appreciation to the Missouri legislature for promoting safety by passing hands-free law prohibiting all drivers from using their cell phones while driving. This is a meaningful step toward our pursuit to eliminate these traffic fatalities. That will go into law, I think, August 1st. So doesn't mean you can't stop now, though. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Brinkman. And As the chairman of the commission, we just want to thank you for your service on that committee. And I know you had a meeting yesterday and kind of cracking the whip that we need to get a little tougher on our ads and do more. And as you can see, this is a really passionate subject for Commissioner Brickman. So thank you for serving on that committee.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is MoDOT Director's Report. Patrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the commission, and everybody for being here today and online. As has been noted, really historic year, and we are grateful for the combined efforts. These types of advancements don't happen overnight. They don't happen all at once. They happen, frankly, I think, really over a 30-year period here in Missouri. This has been coalition building. This has been elevating the issue. We have the great fortune, I think, of being the beneficiaries of investments in our transportation infrastructure that our grandparents and parents made. And I think the last 30 years have been not only here in Missouri, but around the country, have been almost resting on those laurels, not keeping pace from an economic standpoint with the investments that have been made in the past. And, when that happens for a period of decades, sometimes the public forgets that the only way to improve and expand our economy is to improve and expand our infrastructure, to make it better, to make it more relevant for how people travel, how goods move today. And we forget that that's a public investment. And investment requires seed capital, and it requires that, and there's a return on that investment, but you have to make it. And I think with the actions that have culminated with the legislative session, we see that all coming together here in Missouri right now, which is just fantastic. We have made progress at the state level in advance of federal action by passing the motor fuel tax increase. When it happened, timing was perfect. It fit in like a glove with the federal surface transportation reauthorization, the Investment Jobs Act, Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act that passed over a year ago now. We were able to plan for that and aggressively plan for the state's largest statewide transportation improvement program of $10 billion just a year ago. 1,803 projects, construction projects, 1,434 bridges, worked all over the state. And yet we knew some of the bigger things weren't done. And the leadership of Governor Parson, the leadership of the General Assembly, the work of the commission, the work of advocates all over the state, and very specifically, when it counted the most, the work of Senator Lincoln Huff to take charge and to advance the I-70 project and to lay the seeds for similar types of investments in the future for I-44 with funding for a planning study that's necessary for environmental work to get started. That will take some time. But again, looking forward, looking into the future, and looking at what the state can do on a large basis, we now have really a balanced three legs to the stool of transportation funding. We have robust state funding, we have an increased federal funding, and now we have general revenue supporting the larger economic development projects. You know, the source of funds for general revenue is income and sales tax. And the work on a project as large as I-70 will yield returns back to the income and sales tax coffers over the years, hopefully replenishing that fund in a way that policymakers and the public see that that type of investment level can be repeated. Can be, once we have done this, we did this on a test basis with the Focus on Bridge program. Governor Parsons' leadership there showed, and the department's execution showed, that we could take that additional general revenue, put it to specific projects that we've worked across the commission, the governor, and the General Assembly to come together kind of constitutionally with all the authorities and to agree to advance construction forward. That success of that program is really why we're here. And it's really why we have this potential opportunity. Of course, we can't presuppose the governor's signature on anything yet. It hasn't happened, but what we're presenting today is a draft STIP. This is putting it available for public comment. This is not the final approval. Excuse me. But today, our planning director, Eric Curdy, will present the draft statewide transportation improvement program. Last year, we couldn't imagine that we were bringing forward a $10 billion plan, largest in Missouri history. So we figured, why not just increase that by 40%? Because what Eric's going to present today is a $14 billion STIP. It's just extraordinary. With that General Assembly and governor-supported investment. So this is the 5-year plan from 2024 to 2028. As we say that, the other thing that we've really tried to do as an enterprise with the commission's leadership is to make the tough decisions that have to be made along the way so that we don't build them up for future commissions, for future management teams, and for the public to have to deal with. That's difficult to do. One of those things that's occurred since that STIP last year is record inflation. And we have to recognize that the impact of inflation is substantial. It's material. It's unlike any we've ever experienced. Anything that's been close that we've dealt with in our careers has been in the 2005, 2006, 2007 timeframe. And, it's difficult in the moment to make those tough choices. And some of those are being constrained in what we can do with the available funds. We are trying very hard in a period where we had to absorb literally $1.2 billion of inflation costs on that program that we put out last year. Nearly $300 million in awards granted, contracts granted over program thus far this year, and with commission action today, should they approve the awards that are coming before them today. About $300 million in costs absorbed. That's money that comes out of the future. To right-size our STIP in this estimate, our teams worked very hard this year and has incorporated another $900 million in inflationary costs against those programs. So that the average over the past year has been a 20% increase in construction costs and costs across our industry. Now, at the beginning of the year, that was over 30%. It's tapered somewhat. We really appreciate the work that our contractors are doing. Supply chains are opening up. And I am pleased to report, although that's a historic number and a large number to absorb, it's about 5% below the national average. So we are working hard here in Missouri to do the best we can to bring value to the taxpayers that fund this. But $1.2 billion doesn't just go away. We have to absorb that over time, and that's going to require discipline. There's discipline in this STIP in a way that is very difficult and will, I'm sure, receive many comments over the coming months. We've tried to be very transparent. We have a new section and a new report created in Section 4. It's Attachment 2. We have schedule adjustments that we're making throughout the next several years in order to retain the commitment to the construction projects that we made last year. We do use fiscal constraints. So in our planning for the STIP and in partnership with our federal partners, I see Kevin Ward here. Thanks for being here. The work that we do, we typically will do a financial estimate forecast over 5 years, and we program approximately 80% of that estimate. That's what we did this past year. And fortunately, that is where we haven't had to cancel projects because we had some flexibility into this plan. We will not be as fiscally constrained in this plan because we're trying to hold our commitments in this period. But what that's going to take is when we approve anything over program this coming year, after this STIP is approved, we're going to have to join that with a definition of an at-risk project somewhere else in this STIP. That's the only way I think we can meet our commitments going forward, because that's the only way we'll prove out fiscal constraint without having commitments out into the future. So that's going to be a new process that we'll be developing over the next couple months, that's going to create a lot of discussion. And it's healthy discussion, but it's discussion we have to have. It's, the 1.2 billion is the equivalent of almost an entire fiscal year's construction program. And honoring our commitments to what we've already put out in construction is vitally important to this commission. It's been the hallmark of our work for the last 20 years with the allocation formulas that we have. But you're gonna hear more about the STIP itself from Eric in this meeting. Our team that has worked on this and our planning partners that have worked with us on this have done an extraordinary job. And I want to thank all of our planning partners. I know Sarah with OTO is here, great partner. We work hand in hand all year long, trying to do the best we can on a global basis for the state, at a local level for this region, and it works well. The work that you have done in helping define unfunded needs is also one of the reasons why the General Assembly and the public could support large investments in needs. They've been defined at the project level, and we could have the debate in public about those needs. And when funding was available, the General Assembly chose to apply it toward those needs. We're going to need to continue that process. It's vitally important. It's been a great addition to our program. It's been a lot of work for our team, and I want to thank everybody involved in that. As we come to the end of the state fiscal year, I also think it's important to reflect on the record-breaking construction year we've had this past year. With the contracts before the commission in just a few minutes, should those be adopted, we are about to award $1.8, almost $1.9 billion of construction. Can you imagine? Just a few short years ago, that had tapered below $500 million, and the plan was to only have just over $300 million a year going forward. And here we are awarding $1.8 billion. This is a tremendous challenge for our construction industry. They've responded very well. Our consultant engineers, the teams, the industry partners that we work with, this is an all hands on deck effort. We're currently managing 540 active construction contracts worth $3 billion across the state as we speak. And the MoDOT team members involved in program delivery from right-of-way and utility clearance to design plans, then going to construction, materials inspection. We've done a phenomenal work. We are still down as an agency. We're some 2,000 FTEs, full-time equivalents, below where we were at our peak 15 years ago. And we're putting out multiples of the work that existed at that point in time. And it can only be done by good work across the board by individuals every day, just coming in and doing their job, serving the public, serving it well, and working together with our resource agencies at the federal and state level, with our construction partners in the private sector. It's all coming together beautifully. And because of that, because of the extraordinary amount of work that we have going on, it means a tremendous number of work zones, not only the construction, but our operations. You see them out there mowing, picking up the right of way, doing all the work that we do. Our operations team is down hundreds of people from where we need to, and they're still getting the job done out there. They're doing a wonderful job. But that means that we have more than 1,000 work zones for road and bridge construction or maintenance work going on every day. 1,000 work zones across the state. Staying alert and focused when behind the wheel is what keeps your family and other families safe. It only takes one bad decision, sometimes in a split second, to change a life. As Commissioner Brinkman said so eloquently, buckle up, put your phone down, stay alert, and drive sober every trip and every time. What I'd also add to that is, please wear a motorcycle helmet if you're an enthusiast. Please wear the helmet. It is I would say it's a rollback on a public policy basis that motorcycle helmet was repealed. That's a personal opinion of mine, and it's backed up by the fact that we are losing dozens more people unhelmeted on our roadways every year. It's a tragedy that's going on across our roadways. So from a public perspective, all we All we can do is appeal to each person. If you have a parent that is a motorcycle enthusiast, don't let them leave home without putting that helmet on. If you're a spouse of a motorcycle enthusiast, make the case at home that they put that helmet on. We have lost 54 motorcyclists on Missouri roadways so far this year. We're not even halfway through the year, the calendar year. That's a 30% increase. 26 of those weren't wearing helmets. How many of those would still be alive today? That's nearly a 50% increase from this time last year. It is unfortunate. It is preventable. But it also means for every other motorist on the roadway, you really have to pay attention, because you'll find motorcycles in your blind spots. And unfortunately, in Missouri, many of the motorcyclists are not wearing helmets, and even a simple contact at a low speed can result in a fatality or a serious injury. We need people to slow down and pay attention, but distracted driving is a serious problem that our crews experience every day. I wanted to share with you, we've included some technology because we're really trying to understand, it's beyond behavior. It's the way we design roads, it's the way we do everything. But one of the things that our crews in these 1,000 work zones experience each and every day are people driving distracted. The epidemic of phone use here, I've got two right here. And, many people in the room work phone and personal phone. And we're all addicted to these. It's been a change in the last 20 years. Our workers are at risk. Our construction partners are at risk every day in 1,000 locations across the state. I want to share with you, just from the last couple months, just a few examples of what our workers face each and every day. And this is a camera mounted on the back of our truck-mounted attenuators, because we wanted to see what's actually happening. So if we can roll the video, please. The person's got a cell phone in their hand, right up to the TMA.
Bam.
Those are just a few examples in the last couple months. And those pieces of equipment, you have to not be looking ahead of you to hit one of those. They are bright, they have lights, they're big. We have people in those vehicles ahead of them. We're designing and developing a way to run those on an automated basis so that our people don't have to be at risk getting hit. But our people that are driving the lead vehicles for those truck-mounted attenuators are putting their lives at risk to save the crews in front of them. We have many examples where our folks have been injured severely and killed in those work zones. It's just the type of thing we always have to be thinking about, the job of driving. Human beings don't multitask. They don't do it well. It's a fantasy if you think you can, but certainly while you're driving, you shouldn't be. And it's vital for our crews to have that. In each one of those hits, I think you can well imagine that one of our workers up ahead of that, had that vehicle not been in place, could have been killed. Most likely would have been. And this is just people driving even the speed limit, sometimes over or below the speed limit, and not understanding that they're traveling at a rate of speed that could kill themselves or someone else. Please take this seriously. And with the level of work that we're about to put into this step, this is only increasing. It's necessary work. It has to be done, but we're doing it while you're using the roadways. So please keep that in mind as you're working and as you're driving. Last week's action at the federal level to raise the debt ceiling could have had a potential impact on projects in Missouri. Part of the debt reduction actions cut various COVID area funds that had gone unspent. We had done a pretty good job in Missouri at drawing down the federal funds. We did have about $24 million at risk in our three primary urban areas. And I'd say quick action by our planning partners, by the MoDOT team, and by our cooperation and consultation with Federal Highway. I'm really pleased to report that in 3 days' time, about 8 projects were obligated, and $24 million worth of necessary construction work in Kansas City, Springfield, and St. Louis will occur, and the public will receive that benefit as a result of those quick actions. So I just wanted to thank everybody involved in that. That came up fast, but again, the partnerships that we have yield great benefits for the state of Missouri, and I'm so pleased to report that I do have to report to the commission. I'm sorry, we did not obligate out of $224 million in total. We missed $19, 19. That's not 19,000, not 19 million, 19 billion, 19. So the $20 in your, I'll leave a 20 on the table, and we'll be good. So it's just. It really is a great example of the partnerships that we have here in Missouri, and the work that gets done. I do want to close. I'm sorry to close on a bit of a low note. One of those motorcycle fatalities this past week was one of the MoDOT family. So. Central District Versailles maintenance crew leader John Lucas, known as JL, was killed in a crash early Saturday morning. He was a great team member, 4 daughters, young man, very charismatic, great team member. He's going to be missed, and our thoughts and prayers to the team, especially his coworkers in Versailles. And at the Jefferson City building where he worked previously. So, this is real. The things that happen across our transportation infrastructure, the things that can be avoided, they have real impacts to families. They have real impacts to lives. When we're working across the board in the work that we do, and when we're working with communities, and we're designing projects, and we're working through the kind of the balance between the economic interests of an area and the safety needs of the citizens, not only in that area, but those that are passing through on the state highway system. Our goal is to make sure that we have safety improvements built into each and every one of our projects, and we try to maximize that. And that's one of the things that I think we always need to keep in mind. It's not just the behavior on the roadways. It's how we design the roadways. It's how we work with our communities, and how we work together to find that common area where we can advance safety and still yield economic benefits for the work that we do. But they have to go hand in hand. One can't trump the other entirely. So I know that we are working here in Springfield with great partners, with Mayor and his team on many projects here in the area. And we're going to yield great safety benefits for the public here, and we're going to make sure that the economy is thriving as well. So, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Is there any discussion regarding Patrick's report? Yep. Thank you for the report, Patrick. Next item on the agenda is a local presentation. Stacy Reese, District Engineer, will introduce today's speakers. Stacy.
Good morning, Chairman, Commission, Director McKenna. I would like to introduce Matt Morrow, President of Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce, John Russell, Greene County Commissioner, and Sarah Fields, Executive Director of Ozarks Transportation Organization. They're here to talk about strength in partnerships.
Good morning, Commissioners. Welcome to Springfield. We're so glad that you're here today and this week. And as has been observed, the sun always shines in Springfield when the Highway Commission's in town. So we're really grateful that you're here and that you are getting to experience our community. In the Springfield region, we are hardwired for partnership. It's really how we function. It's how we operate. All of our best stories, all of our best work and accomplishments in the region have been products of that partnership. We think of that within the region in terms of how we partner among the 10 plus counties that we consider this region of the Ozarks, but we also think of it in how we partner outside of the region with legislative bodies and with the opportunity to really help advocate alongside our friends with the commission and MoDOT for those resources that are necessary to keep our communities and our state safe and to be able to plant those seeds that are important for growth in the future. Great leadership always keeps one eye on the urgent needs of today while aggressively planning for and investing for tomorrow, where all of those next needs might be, and really even as or more important than that, where the next opportunity might be. And so part of what I would like us to do today and what our partners here today are going to do is to highlight a few of those opportunities and be able to share with you a snapshot of our region as well. Because partnership defines us, you'll be hearing from a sampling of our partners here in the area today with Commissioner Russell and Sarah Fields with OTO. But that is just one piece of partnership here. As has been mentioned, our Mayor McClure is here today. You are in a facility that is an embodiment, a picture of partnership in our community and in our region. OTC Chancellor Hal Higdon has really assembled a team that has led well, not only in meeting urgent educational needs in our community, but helping to equip a workforce for effectiveness for those businesses that are trying to grow and invest here or considering where they might next grow or invest. And that partnership, this facility is a great example of that. As someone who works in economic development every day, I can tell you it's a great advantage when you're competing against other communities, other states, other regions of the country to be able to show an employer, one who might be considering investing here. This is how we can take care of ensuring that your future workforce needs are always met. And that's a real advantage when we're competing for that investment. Another tremendous advantage are the kinds of projects that you're looking for and evaluating on a day-to-day basis, and that you will be over the course of the next several years. With the increased funding that comes, we of course compete for these projects, and companies would not be looking here if they weren't interested in this location. And this location is largely driven by the logistical access that happens from being in this part of the country. So thank you for your leadership and for your work on that, for your partnership. We enjoy and appreciate the opportunity to partner with the commission and to partner with the department as well. I wanted just to highlight a couple of things that will hopefully, these are your speakers for today, but just highlight a little bit of a snapshot about our region and our community. This is the most recent couple of years of data that's available for us. There will be more new data coming out soon, but really over about a 2-year period, this is the growth that we've seen in the 10 counties that we roughly approximate as the Ozarks here. Now, 5 of these counties represent the Springfield metro area, and that's the top 3 plus Dallas and Greene in terms of growth. But as you can see, there's growth happening in every single part of this region. The population continues to grow here. And as we focus on that, it helps us to really compete for private investment to know that there is a growing workforce in this area. That's one of the big questions that obviously any company is considering or thinking about when they look at that. And so they're also impressed with and encouraged by partnerships that happen in the area and how we leverage those partnerships for success. We believe that in this region, we're large enough to do about anything we need to do, but we're small enough that we kind of need each other to do it. And so that's really driving a lot of the culture of collaboration that really drives so much here today. Again, 5 of these counties are the Springfield metro. So the next slide is really a look at the last 3 years' growth by metro in the state. So I will tell you that in the most recent year, Springfield is actually at the top of this list, and there will be new data coming out soon for the most recent year also, and we anticipate to continue to be the fastest growing metro in the state. But again, the picture that I want to draw for you is that for this region, that's the 5 counties that were part of that last slide. But we think of the region as larger than that. And really even beyond the 10 counties that I showed you, when you look at Southwest Missouri generally, you see tremendous growth happening in this area. And that's really good. It gives us a competitive advantage when it comes to being able to have that economic impact that we need. But it also, of course, presents needs. And that's an important part, obviously, of what you have to consider every day as well. One of the other important factors, I think, to keep in mind and think about, these are just the 4 largest counties in the state as a sample. This is really only that. It's just a picture of the largest counties by population. But when you look at total net migration into the whole state of Missouri, our net migration between 2020 and 2022 was a little over 34,000 people, net increase in net migration into the state. Of the 10-county region that I showed you just a moment ago, a little over 16,000 of that migration has happened in those 10 counties. So it's about 48% of the net in-migration growth in the state of Missouri, almost half, has happened in those 10 counties. So really, for perspective, I think it's just helpful to know that. This slide is showing how again, what our largest county in that area has grown over that period of time. And again, specifically, these are just kind of a picture of the 4 largest counties in the state. The next slide that I have for you is just a reminder of how that partnership plays out at the state level as well. With strong growth comes the need to invest in the transportation system, and we know that our citizens don't recognize distinctions. A lot of times they don't recognize distinctions based on city limit lines or county lines, but they certainly don't recognize distinctions between what is a MoDOT road or a county road or a city street. So that's why we've always tried to work together in partnership. It's why we've had a great history of being able to work at making the most of cost share opportunities that are win-wins for everybody here, and we want to continue to do that certainly as well. We've worked over the years to invest alongside MoDOT in these needed improvements. We've also worked alongside to help advocate for some of the same legislative priorities. One of the things in this most recent legislative session that was most encouraging to me, as I know it was to you as well, is the opportunity for people from all across the state of Missouri to advocate for a shared agenda on transportation. It's critically important that I-70 have the improvements that are happening there, and at the same time that we're teeing up those next projects. We're for all of it. We really appreciate the opportunity to work alongside you. And so that's just a little bit of a snapshot of our region and what it looks like. I'd like to invite Greene County Commissioner John Russell to come next. He is also the chairman of the board for the Ozarks Transportation Organization, a tremendous partner here in the region. So I'll hand it over to John.
Well, thank you so much, Matt, and good morning, commissioners. It's certainly good to have you here in Greene County this morning. We appreciate you having a meeting here, and thank you for the opportunity to offer some comments here this morning on partnership and collaboration. We feel that our area does partnership and collaboration so well, but especially when it comes to transportation. That's thanks to many MoDOT, the mayor of Springfield is here, the city manager of Stratford is sitting behind me, many federal partners here, and so many others, and thank you so much for that partnership. As the 2022 OTO chairman, I worked with the OTO board to prioritize projects for the region and to build a coalition around these priorities. As such, I-44 and the interchange with Highway 13 rose to the very top for several years. The traffic backups of over 20 minutes, the unpredictable delays, and the danger for emergency personnel and the traveling public had just become completely unacceptable. That led the OTO board to see this as an opportunity to partner with MoDOT to seek federal discretionary funds. The OTO funded a second application developed by C&T that could leverage state investment to hopefully get the entire project funded. And although we were not successful, we continued to work to ensure that this project could obtain adequate funding to get the project that we needed. Representative Bill Owen and Senator Lincoln Huff realized the significance of this project, and they worked to ensure that funding was included in the state budget this year. The Greene County Commission, along with the mayor and the city of Springfield, also realized that this was a priority and have provided funding for the project as well. MoDOT programmed state and federal funds in the STIP and continue to look for ways to accelerate and use innovative project delivery methods to deliver the quickest and most efficient project possible. And this is an excellent example of how when we move together in a common direction, what once seemed impossible becomes very possible. As you know, the OTO board works to prioritize our projects for the MoDOT STIP. The 2023 STIP was very exciting for us, and we're all well aware of the challenges with inflation, as Director McKenna has already mentioned here this morning, as those projects are beginning to be delivered. We prioritized some big projects like I-44 and US 65, and 65 had been designed several years ago to be a ready-to-go project when funds needed to be spent. And we recognized that fact when selecting it for the 2023 funds. We're grateful to see some of the big projects like US 60 added and some smaller projects like the Highway 125 intersections in Stratford. We've also prioritized 2 statewide cost shares. The first in Republic was a widening project near the new Amazon facility, totaling at least $10 million. And the second being a widening project on a rapidly developing commercial corridor in Christian County in Ozark, which is a $6 million project. These projects are experiencing the same inflationary pressures of the STIF and are going to require some outside-the-box work to hopefully keep them moving. Of course, there's always a long list of needed safety and capacity improvements. Among those are arterials like Highway 13, which is Kansas and Springfield, among many others. And once again, this year, the OTO board will work to prioritize and update our list to be ready to work with MoDOT to apply for additional funds when necessary. Our entire region looks forward to the continued collaborative partnership as we all work to improve the transportation network of this area in a way that enhances the safety and efficiency, balances economic considerations, and takes into account the needs and input of local citizens. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and thank you so much for your partnership. We're very grateful. At this time, I'd like to introduce OTO Executive Director, Sarah Fields.
Good morning, Commission, Director McKenna. So last year, the City of Springfield came and spoke to the Commission about a new quality of place initiative. And, you know, a year isn't a long time to make progress, and we're getting started. Of course, there's a long way to go, but you may not be able to see it or feel it yet, but it's definitely happening. One of the ways, and this also goes to safety, that we were working on the I-44 project was to accommodate a trail underpass. So part of the reason we needed the additional general revenue investment was for a pavement rebuild project. And with that pavement rebuild, we're allowed to put in a box culvert to accommodate a trail underpass. So that's that'll be additional crossing the I-44. And as you know, interchanges are spaced pretty far apart. So it's needed to connect Norton over by the fairgrounds to Doling Park. Also, funding has been added from Springfield and Greene County to enhance the lanes, but also to enhance pedestrian connections in northern Springfield, aesthetic improvements to the bridges, lighting, wider sidewalk connections. So as pedestrian deaths also increase, I think these are going to be important improvements for us for the region. We also work to develop a MoDOT sidewalk cost share program. And what we wanted to do was partner with the TAP funds that we receive for the region and use those on MoDOT roads with projects that would be under construction to enhance the sidewalk and trail system. So we picked 3 projects for that program, MM in Republic, 125 sidewalks in Stratford, and 14 with a roadway widening will have sidewalks. So that's 3 other cases where we're able to partner to make some of those quality of place improvements with MoDOT on the MoDOT system. The City of Springfield added funds to an ADA project on Highway 13 or Kansas Expressway, where funding was only going to improve the existing sidewalks, and the City of Springfield asked to partner to fill gaps in that sidewalk system. We have quite a bit of pedestrians walking alongside the road, and felt that was an important need for us. And then finally, with some of our COVID relief funds, we are doing the Wilson's Creek National Battlefield Trail, which is along a state highway near Republic and Greene County. So as we continue to work together, we're partnering to make efficient use of funds and resources to produce those results that are being requested by our citizens. So part of our regional vision was to have an additional 45 miles of trails constructed by 2045. And this was for transportation improvements, for safety, but also to make our region a place where people continue to want to live. We believe that trails can be an essential part of ecotourism to showcase our rich natural environment. So when we were given CRISA funds with a very quick deadline for obligation, as we know, we saw an opportunity to advance that vision. And really it had to do with project readiness. So we selected 3 trails that either the right-of-way was existing or we thought could be readily in place. And basically we got notice in early 21. We were able to program and award those funds by May of 21. And within 2 years, 2 of the 3 projects have been obligated. The third project, we did have some right-of-way on a private property owner, so that delayed us a little bit as far as design, trying to figure all that out, but it is set to be obligated by January. And I'm sharing this with you for 2 reasons. One is to demonstrate that when we're given funds, we can go from 0 to construction in about 2 to 3 years. And that's on a ready-to-go project. The federal process, which is administered by MoDOT, we have logged 121 steps in that process. So it's not easy and we can't just snap our fingers and get a project ready. So I wanted to point that out. Second, we've never lost funding for failure to meet a deadline, although we came pretty close this weekend. But 2 of the 3 projects were obligated. We were down to 575,000 of our 2.6 that hadn't been obligated. And we were able to pivot and work together, and we appreciate the work of MoDOT in helping us obligate those funds quickly. But when the project, we can deliver projects when the rules are clear and we understand the timelines, right? I mean, it was laid out very clearly to us when obligation was required, and we were on track to meet that with every dollar. There's a lot of lead time needed to get a project from concept to construction. And I think that that's just a misnomer generally by the public. You know, you snap your fingers and a project can be under construction. I mean, we've learned it's a year for right-of-way acquisition, sometimes a year or 2 for environmental clearances. It's just not a fast process. So we do have a success story in these projects and a success story in partnering with MoDOT to get that last bit of money obligated. So we really appreciate that. I just wanted to leave you with some faith that our partnerships have worked in the past, they're working now, and they can work in the future. And I want to thank you guys and MoDOT for being great partners to us, because together we're building better communities, better projects. We're providing for a variety of users, saving money through efficiencies and working together. And of course, no partnership is ever perfect, but I hope we've shown you that we're strong, and more importantly, we're stronger together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any discussion?
No discussion, really. Just I want to thank Matt and Sarah and Commissioner Russell for being here today, and appreciate the working relationship you have with the commission and MoDOT. And together we'll just continue to work. You got lots of projects going on down here, and we can keep moving economic development forward in this area. Mayor, thank you for being here too. We appreciate all of you. I love Greene County. If I ever leave Henry, I'm coming down here.
Patrick, do you have anything?
No, it really is a great example of how federal, state, and local officials work together for the benefit of the public, and that's what it takes. Sarah's point about the lead time, believe me, we can feel that. There are a few public expectations coming on a couple big projects for us, and I haven't been able to find an I-70 at Home Depot yet. So, you know, we do understand, I think, because when you work in this on the delivery side of this and on the planning side, you understand that the public expectations of delivery, you know, requires a lot of work in advanced planning. And that's why the long-range planning and the funding stability is so important, because that gives us that ability to bring things into the pipeline and to go from every phase of development and still have active construction that's being delivered each and every day. So no, it's a great partnership, and we really do appreciate it. Active community, a lot of great ideas and innovation coming out of here, and we learn from each other. So we appreciate it. Thanks. Lauren?
Yeah, thank you. The partnership here is very impressive, and thanks for having a partnership. I'm recalling a legislative hearing that Director McKenna and I appeared at during session when a proposal was before the legislature that would have essentially replaced the partnership we have with local planning agencies to come up with a long-term capital plan for state appropriations for all transportation projects. And believe it or not, that proposal got some pretty good traction, particularly in the House. And I'm just reminded how important it is that we defend this process we have of local partnerships for planning. And it really puts a very high premium on us delivering on obligating projects so that it isn't tempting to lose that process that has worked so well. This document is a testament to the success of that long-range planning, and we can't rest on our laurels thinking that the process we have today is not under review, because it is.
So thank you, Sarah, John, and Matt for that presentation. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is an action item. Travis Kestner, State Design Engineer, will present bids for our consideration. Travis?
Good morning, Chairman Ecker, Commissioners, Director McKenna. I'm bringing to you the results of the May 19th, 2023 bid opening, where MoDOT received 103 bids on 43 calls, and we recommend the following to you today. That is to award all calls to the lowest responsive bidder, except for call B06 located in the Northeast District, calls C03 and C06 located in the Kansas City District, call G03 located in the Southwest District, and calls H01, H09, and H10 located in the Southeast District. We recommend rejection of calls B06, C03, G03, H09, and H10 due to excessive bids per section 102.15 of the Missouri Standard Specifications. Call B09 located in the Southeast District received no bids. And we also recommend award of calls C06 and H01 be contingent on receiving additional funding from our partners on the project, which are the local cities where the jobs are located. And finally, we recommend the bid from Millstone Weber on call F01 in the St. Louis District be declared non-responsive per section 102.8 of the Missouri Standard Specifications for highway construction due to not completing their bid in accordance with the bidding documents. So a lot going on, but those are our recommendations for you today.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Travis?
Move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the bids for consideration. Any discussion? All those in favor of this motion signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. You have a budget update?
Budget report, yeah, like we gave a little precursor last month, this is the last awards for the state fiscal year. So as Director McKenna mentioned, with the awards today of over $153 million in a month, that gets us to over $1.85 billion for the state fiscal year, which is a 19.1% or $296 million over budget. So like Director McKenna mentioned, though, that's a little bit better than the national average and just a lot of work and a lot of effort by a lot of folks statewide. So it's a big year. I mean, about $1 billion more than we were just a couple of years ago. So that's a good group effort by all of those guys. So,
Thank you, Travis.
thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a non-action item. Stacy Reese, Southwest District Engineer, will share an update about the district. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you. Welcome, Chairman and Commissioners, Director McKenna, and everyone here with us today. It's a pleasure to have you all in Springfield. I want to take a few moments to tell you about all the great and wonderful things we have happening here in the Southwest District. Currently, we have a total of 309 projects on the current approved STIP for a little over $1 billion. Active construction projects that are either active or getting ready to start is at 103, so a lot of great work going on. So I'm going to lead into some of those now. So Route 86 Long Creek Bridge. The project includes a bridge being built south of the existing. It's to replace a current truss bridge that was built in 1956 that carries a little over 8,000 cars a day. Currently, there's also an AuxBlue camera, so if you want to go see like a time lapse, I've got a little snapshot of it here. You can kind of see the work going on. So that's you can access that through our webpage for this project. This project came in at a cost of $66.5 million with a completion date of September 30th of 2025. Next up, we've got the Interstate I-44 Corridor Bridge Bundle. It is improving bridges for $43 million up and down I-44. We also have some that are adjacent along the corridor. So there's 7 that are on Mainline 44, 5 bridges that actually go over I-44 at some of the interchanges, and then 5 of them that are adjacent, or 9 of them that are adjacent to it. So altogether, completion is supposed to be in September of 2024. We've still got 8 of them that will be coming next year, and they're wrapping up 7 right now that are under construction for a total of 25 altogether. Next project is the US 60 widening project. It's here in Springfield. So we're adding a lane in each direction between National and Kansas Expressway to extend the 3 lanes that we had already done another piece of earlier last year. It's also building sound walls at 2 locations and includes the cost share intersection improvements at Campbell Avenue and Republic Road. That cost share is with the city of Springfield. Again, this project's $21 million and scheduled for completion in November of '24. US 65. A lot of work going on this one. We've got a safety and resurfacing project going on between Ozark and Branson, doing several improvements to a lot of the intersections down through there. We've installed some climbing lanes, got guardrail getting installed. Estimated project cost is $10 million on this one. And then getting ready to kick off is continuation of adding a lane in the median, starting at CC and J there in Ozark and going down to Route 14. And then also adding some auxiliary lanes between 14 and Route F there in Ozark as well. This project is going to be completed in November of 2025 with estimated cost of $30 million. Again, a lot of great work going on, so we're going to keep going here. So Route 14, widening. We have been working on Route 14 between Ozark and Nixa for several years now. We're on the last piece that we have programmed. It's a 5-lane section, so adding 2 lanes in each direction with a center turn lane in Nixa. It should be wrapping up this fall. Interstate 44 improvements. You heard this one mentioned a little bit already. So we're looking at doing capacity and interchange improvements at 13 and 44, and then adding a lane in each direction as well. It replaces 6 bridges, and then funding also for phase 1 of the interchange to do a flyover ramp from southbound to eastbound to help that delay that we are seeing there. The 13 and 44 is the first location where we installed the first diverging diamond interchange ever. And so it has definitely served its purpose, but we're starting to see as traffic increases that we need to go in and go ahead and do some additional improvements there. Route 13 in Clinton, doing some improvements at the first intersection that you come to, adding a turn lane, doing some pavement. Again, how much traffic that goes through there between Springfield and Kansas City. Definitely seeing the pavement deteriorate. So we're getting in there to do a project, and it should wrap up at the end of this year. We also have a lot of governor's cost share projects going on in our area, so very thankful for those. During the round 1 program, we had 3 of them approved. So 1 project has been delivered and 2 are under construction. So the one in Carthage has been completed. The Ozark McCracken Road is under construction. I actually drive through that one every day, so I can see the great progress coming along. And then Springfield Galloway Street, they're in the right-of-way acquisition phase on that one. The round 2, there's 6 that got approved for that one. So Bolivar East Loop, Polk County 430th Road, Carthage Hazel Avenue Phase 2, Joplin Zora Street, Springfield LeCompte Phase 2, Eastgate Extension, Winnette's Lowe's Lane, and then the Big Cedar Lodge Route 86. We've been working closely on that one, and as of Monday, permits have been issued. They're ready to kick off construction on that one with substantial completion by August of this year. So a lot of great work going on down there. We've heard a lot too about the growth that we're seeing in this area. In 2022, Southwest District issued 1,575 permits for work on right-of-way, more than any other district. Almost 1 out of every 5 permits in the state were written in the Southwest District. For all of Missouri, MoDOT staff are on pace to issue 10% more permits in 2023 compared to 2022. Prior to the permit phase, our MoDOT employees worked countless hours coordinating with developers, business owners, consultants, and contractors to keep the development moving forward. In 2022, Southwest staff have aided in 64 development reviews. Some notable ones included working with Bass Pro Shops Big Cedar on their new Thunder Ridge Nature's Arena. That was prior to the cost share approval, the governor's cost share approval on that one. We also have Missouri's first Buc-ee's location in Northeast Springfield. This in Northeast, at I-44 Mulroy Road. We've had 8 new Dollar General stores, lots of new restaurants, including 4 new Whataburger locations, 2 major truck stops, and working with area school districts such as Neosho and Nevada. So far in 2023, we've had 51 developments that have undergone our full review, and an additional 30 within the Springfield area that our planning staff has been able to review, taking us to 81 already just for the year of 2023. So lots of developments still happening and great growth in our area. Hit a little bit on operations excellence. So we made a couple of big pushes for litter pickup over the months of March and April. We collected 56,780 bags of litter. Each bag weighs about 12 to 15 pounds, so that's 425 tons of litter, and that doesn't count what doesn't fit in the bag. So there's a lot that gets piled along the shoulder that we go up and pick up. Tire treads, refrigerators, couches, you name it. We'll pick those up. All of this was at an estimated cost of a little over $2 million. We also shifted Butler and Clinton maintenance up to the Kansas City area to help them in preparation for the NFL draft. They picked up over 2,300 bags of litter up there, and we've also helped them in the past with snow and winter operations, so have plowed over 11,000 miles and spread 200 tons of salt. Another item I would like to highlight with our operations is we did have 9 maintenance buildings and organizations that had 0 incidents in 2022. So during spring meetings, we took the opportunity to recognize all of them with a certificate and thank them for their hard work. We have a striper that we have retrofitted with the help of central office. It has the capability of automating the function of the paint guns and the cartridges in the back to where it'll minimize the number of employees that have to ride back there and operate them. It also has the ability to record the passing and no passing zones, which is a huge safety and time-saving potential. So it's currently still in the testing phase. We just got it back in April, early May there. The company is coming down in July to work out some remaining issues with it before we take it out full-time on the roadway. So looking forward to seeing what that brings to us. Innovations Challenge, we recently went up to the statewide competition in Columbia. This is something I've been really passionate about. I've been our statewide or our district coordinator for several years now. We took 9, we had 9 total. We got to take 5 up to the statewide challenge and compete and see all the other great ideas across the state that were shared while we were there. We continue to look at recruitment and community outreach. We have attended 10 Jobs for America's graduate events in local schools within our district. Our HR staff has been going out and meeting with them. We've had over 50 recruitment and community outreach events and have interacted with 4,500 students and families at all of these. We had 1-2 here not too long ago where we had 7th and 8th graders come to work. We brought almost 40 female students in from a couple schools that had signed up. It was a partnership through the Chamber of Commerce. And showed them what MoDOT had to offer. We had different stations set up that we could rotate them through and partnered up with a couple of our consulting partners as well. Community partnering, we've heard a lot about this today as well. Sarah, talked a lot about the City of Springfield Quality Place. We continue to meet with them as they look forward with what their vision is and what can be incorporated, what they can bring when we're out there doing a project within the City of Springfield and what they can, from a timing standpoint, bring to the project as well. City of Nixop, we're working on letting a local MoDOT job together. We've got a project at CC and Main Street, and then you've got some widening on the city street that ties in with that, so working to coordinate that. A lot of cost share and economic development projects with Carthage, Joplin, Neosho, Republic, and Ozark. We also partner with our emergency management and law enforcement partners, and then also have the Missouri Coalition for Roadway Safety that meets regularly. Anderson Maintenance, back during all the litter pickup that was going on, while they were picking up trash on 71 South of Anderson, they found a box containing a small collection of coins, old military medals, and some photos. That appeared to have been, in there for some times in the ditch. So they were turned over to the McDonald County Sheriff. The day after turning it in, the sheriff reached back out and he had found the owner of the medals. The owner was very appreciative. They were actually down in Springdale, Arkansas. And it happened to be medals from like when his grandpa was in World War II. So he was very appreciative and thanked the crews for getting them back to his family. We also had crews from Regional Bridge, Southwest Maintenance come together in record time to address a broken finger joint on a bridge on I-49 down near Anderson. So from the time of the initial notification, the bridge was closed, repairs were made, and the bridge was open in just 5 days. We did have to detour traffic through Anderson, so a lot of partnerships there with the local law enforcement. Unfortunately, happened to be 2 during graduation at the local school, but we made it through. No recorded incidents during the closure and during the time that we were out of traffic, and we only had 2 phone calls come in with concerns. So huge success to get that back open. On June 14th, too, we're going to celebrate 30 years of incident response employees in MoDOT. In addition, we're going to celebrate 16 years at our Transportation and Management Center of the Ozarks, a joint facility with the city of Springfield. We've got a couple of our staff here today with the TMC and the incident response, and I'd like to recognize one of those employees in particular, Wyatt Schubert. Wyatt is our one and only motorist operator at this time. I imagine he feels like a pinball machine bouncing all over the district. Wyatt takes pride in the service he provides to the traveling public. And I'm going to take this moment to read a thank you we received in regards to Wyatt's great work. This is actually back from February. This is from Stephanie Washam. She goes, I just wanted to let you know how grateful I am for one of your MoDOT employees. I believe his name was Wyatt. My daughter, who's 18, goes to Evangel University. We live in Tennessee. My biggest worry is about her breaking down so far away from home. She had a flat on 65 on her way to church. She was almost to the Chestnut Expressway exit. She called MoDOT. He was to her in probably 10 minutes. He changed her tire and put the air in the spare. He would not take any money. He was truly a lifesaver. Thank you for the service and having employees that are extremely helpful, thoughtful, and cheerful while doing their job. Best regards, Stephanie Washam. So at this time, I would like to present Wyatt with a leadership coin to recognize his commitment to the traveling public.
I think you gotta have a picture.
Absolutely. And that completes the update on the Southwest District.
Thank you, Stacy. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Boatright.
Yeah. Stacy, so glad to have you as the district engineer for the Southwest District. Welcome to your new role and appreciate you hosting us.
We're happy to.
We're always glad to come to Springfield and really appreciate it's exciting to see the work that you and your team are doing and really appreciate all you do for the state. So thank you. You bet.
Chairman? Yeah, ditto, thank you. I wanted to highlight one thing in your report. You talked about the Butler and Clinton maintenance units providing support to
Yes.
the Kansas City district in advance of the NFL draft. I had the opportunity to join your colleague, Chris Redline, in thanking all of the MoDOT employees who really did a remarkable job. But I want to highlight our gratitude to every one of those maintenance workers who gave of their time to come to Kansas City and help us present Kansas City to 312,000 visitors, the biggest event we've ever had. Without that team effort, it wouldn't have worked, and I'm very grateful to each and every one of them. Let me know when you got a big party down here in Springfield.
Okay.
We'll return the favor.
All right, we appreciate that. Yeah, definitely goes back to, the one team MoDOT and being there to help each other out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. I just want to thank Stacy for her enthusiasm taking over the role. These are big jobs at MoDOT, the district engineer jobs. I'd say it's the classic, it's a leadership role, but it's classic middle management, right? Which means you get hit from above and below all day long, every day. And it takes a special type of person to take on that role. But Stacy is somebody that attracts people to her because of the way she goes about her responsibilities and is building an extraordinary team. Got Greg Chapman back here. Kim Hickey's just recently joined the team as well. So she's attracting, we're going around all over the place and saying, in individual units, I talked to Kim Hickey this morning. I said, hey, trader, and congratulations, right? Because she's done an extraordinary job for us in the headquarters for a number of years, and she's taking on a new role and broadening her career. It's a great experience for her at this time in her family's life. But I think without the leadership of Stacy, you're just attracting a great team, and that's going to continue to provide great service here in this district. So thanks for what you're doing. And sorry for all the requests that come in as one of those people hitting you from every other direction, but great job so far.
Thank you, Director. Appreciate it.
Director McKenna, I want to thank Stacy, and I promise you publicly, I won't call you after hours or on Saturday anymore. I'll do my best. But she always answers the phone first or second ring. And I
Are we
appreciate
recording? This is being recorded, right? We can hold you to it. All right.
Have you got that, Madam Secretary? Okay. But I appreciate it when you do that.
Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate it.
Next item on the agenda is a non-action item. Becky Almaroth, Chief Safety and Operations Officer, will introduce our speaker. Becky.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners, Director. I wanted to take the opportunity, I gave you a little bit of a preview last month of some of the results that we've actually seen since we took our MoDOT, or our maintenance management system, rebranded it to the MoDOT management system, and rolled all of our safety data into that. And we've really seen some great results when our employees at every level of this organization can see the safety health within their organization, their building. So gave you a little preview that you'd be seeing and talking to Michael Middleton today. Really excited of what he has done with this system. And it's to the point, whenever we were developing this system 5-6 years ago, we were looking at the nationwide models, and there were a lot of off-the-shelf systems that we could have purchased and we could have settled for to really look and manage what we do on a daily basis within operations. And none of them seemed good enough. From the standpoint, they would have been good for me to see data and those of us making decisions to see data. But we wanted everybody, the worker, our maintenance professionals on the ground, to be able to see that data and see what the accomplishments have been and what they need, their planned work will be. To the point that I'm really excited. Over the next month, I just did a preview last week of a podcast that Michael did. At the nationwide level, we have other states that are very interested in what we are doing with our MoDOT management system, and he'll be traveling to an AASHTO conference next week to present in front of all 50 states what we've done with this. Everybody's interested. How have you done this? What are your accomplishments? So with no further ado, I'm going to let Michael kind of do a little bit of a show of what he's been doing.
Thank you, Becky. That was very nice of you. Maybe a little bit over too nice. Good morning, Chairman Ecker, Commissioners, Director McKenna. It's my pleasure this morning to get a chance to present our maintenance, which now is MoDOT management system. If you look at our Citizens Guide, operations is about $500 million. And so how do we have a system, an enterprise system that helps paint that picture, what we plan and what we do? You look at this, we started again about 7 years ago. We have around 2,800 of our maintenance employees, signal lighting personnel, 3,600 pieces of equipment, all of this system. And it was mainly just write it down on a piece of paper and hand to someone. An inefficient process, hard to figure out as accurate. And we just knew that we needed to go somewhere, but it actually started first with our leadership. Our executive team was on board very early on. I remember even handing Director McKenna a packet of our contract, and he wanted to look at it. The desire to have a system that would make it efficient. We started with sponsorship. We had executive team sponsorship. Then we built a steering team. Almost every division at MoDOT was a part of that steering team. We had district visits for a year, going to those buildings. What do you need? What does it take to put in a pipe? What does it take to place concrete? What does it do to stripe? What are all the different programs you need to do that? And how can we make it simple and easy for everyone to do a part of that? Create a dedicated team. When I speak about one of the successes, this was really the driving part. We started out with 3 members. Today we have 4. This is solely what we do. And when you call or you want to know something, we answer the phone and address the immediate need there. And we have subject matter experts. We meet with them weekly still about what are we doing? What do we need to fix? How do we part it? So you look at our timeline. Go back to May of 2017. We spent about 9 months building the specifications. And then we spent about 18 months actually developing the program with a contractor. We actually went live in 2020 in March. There's about 2,800 employees, again, daily using the system across 192 buildings of the entire statewide. And we immediately built upon that with our next phase, building work plans, budget, progress. And then in August of 2021, Director McKenna challenged the safety department to say, we need a safety management system. And again, I wanted to say, use MMS. And somehow we use MMS. And so we built upon that coming out in April of 2022 with our first safety dashboard to highlight. Since then, we've added more safety features, most recently in January with the new incident reporting. Currently, we're working today on what we refer to as ladder license leave, and that's about the employee. What about me as my career? So if you were to open up MMS today, this is the screen. We've got about 8 modules. One of our key features we have is because we have so much of our field personnel using it every day, this is a great communication tool. We can put our short videos on there, show a MoDOT minute, those kind of items. And I'm going to highlight some of our modules to you. This is our signing work. Every day, our crew leaders come in here. They pick the employees. You're going to be mowing today, putting striping today. You're working on a signal. We talk about individual people, roles. Are you the one that's flagging today? Or are you the one running a roller? We look real time. Are you trained for this? This was a huge change for us as a department to have that kind of notification back to supervisors. We also have risk-based assessments. What are the concerns in this kind of activity today? What are the applications we should be using for work zones? These are our mandatory things we do every day. And again, this is a highlight of our Joplin special crew here in the Southwest District. Take a look at this. This was just about 2 weeks ago. This is at the end of the day. How do we document our work? This is our crew in Lee Summit, just doing some chip sealing out in their area. The majority of employees really come in and say, yep, I worked this many hours, and this was my equipment usage. Surveys show they do this in less than 3 minutes. We wanted it efficient, easy, accurate, and we also pick our locations. When you look at this, one of the things that changed about our process since we've been live is we use map locations for everything. This is Route FF that going from Jackson County into Lafayette that we chip sealed. We will pick individual bridges. We will pick individual signals. We actually, most recently, have tied this into our call report database. So it's now about where did you exactly do something that changes our ability to represent that. Another piece that we built was work plans. About 10 years ago, we started down the process of federalizing several maintenance activities. And this is a result of this effort. You'll see we're highlighting the Southeast District. And you'll notice we just turned on asphalt pavement repair. These are the individual routes we plan on being on this year to place some asphalt mix. You might see a little bit, if you look close, some green on there. It actually shows you work we just recently have completed. This is pretty much real time. When I say real time, within probably a couple of days of us doing the work. Now, I'd like to jump all the way across the state, and I'm going to go to the northwest. A great group of people up there, supervisor and superintendent. That's a superintendent's view. Now, just below there, we happen to go to Clinton conveniently, and you'll see that in Clinton, we have some work going on there too, right? We know where the commissioners are, but where does this work, and how do we do the work, and what does it look like? When I'm asked, what did we plan, what did we do, we can show that, and not just at management level, but a building. Supervisors can see this at any time. We tie this into our money with budget. Now, the interesting thing about MMS is we take this down to a work unit. How much money do I have for materials? What did I plan to do? What have I spent, and how much is remaining? That makes a significant difference when it comes to that very basic level there. And that was our Seymour maintenance building here in Southwest. A few of the things we built upon. MMS is built upon TMS. TMS is Transportation Management System. Been here for years, and it was a big part of our success. This is just on the north side of Kansas City, in Platte City area. And you can see these are routes that are in good condition, poor condition. Allows us, as we plan, to look at those kind of routes. Another view here, this is the Northeast District. We inspect our signs, basically half of a district per year. They inspected these signs back in January. Each one of those blue dots is a sign that needs to be replaced. This builds our work for this year that we're going to be replacing these signs. Next one is a nice map. I really like this where we can take our STIP and lay it on top of our planned maintenance. Those golden color there, of course, operations is going to be gold, That's the work we're doing. Pipes, bridges, land mix. And then you'll see the red there's our STIP projects. It allows us to see that interaction. We talk about 1,000 work zones. the amount of work it takes to make sure that's all coordinated correctly. Skip over to the St. Louis district. This is new call reports that I took this image probably last week. The volume of work, again, in just that area, I'm going to give credit to our signal lighting crews in St. Louis. They've been documenting MMS about 2 months. We started with Kansas City about a year ago. This was one of the requests they had for us, put call reports in to document work, and now that is what we do. As you document work, you close a call report at the same time. Assets, our trucks, this is Central District's, a couple images of their trucks, real time, where you at on oil change, grease job, allowing to maintain our assets and take care of those. So we built all this to be able to get results like this, right? Management leadership likes to know what we've done, what we accomplished. The top left shows you our litter pickup in April. These are estimated costs in MMS. Usually, again, within a short amount of days from when the work was accomplished, we can give you an estimated cost, labor, equipment, material. You look pipes, since the first of the year, we put in almost 47,000 linear feet of pipes, about $104 a linear feet. That ability to kind of speak in those terms, the value of that, you'll notice the flood response. We can do tornadoes, we can do our winter operations, and provide this. And again, I give recognition to our signal lighting crews, a huge part of the effort that they are now documenting their work in MMS. But in August of 2021, we went from how can you manage your work and plan your work to how do we help out with safety? And so coming off of the direction from our director, we built our safety management module. We have multiple modules there that all employees can go, and we changed our name to the MoDOT Management System. We have abilities. You can see different videos there. This is available, again, on your computer, on your mobile device. Anyone can come in and see it as an employee. So in January of this year, we implemented our incident reporting system. This is anytime an employee is injured, we have equipment damage. It goes through a process of, from an employee all the way to a district engineer, a review process. Once that's completed, we put it on this map. This is a heat map. You can see that, unfortunately, since the first year, this was as of last week, 101 employees have been injured, and we've had 231 vehicle incidents that have occurred. We can zoom into this. We'll go into Jackson County here. You see, again, it's point location. Just as we look at this, how is this going to change our work as we move forward when we look at driving down and figuring out how can we do this safer and more efficient? One of our safety focus items is backing. It's just, again, shows you our current backing situations across the state. As Becky had talked about, the safety culture, in April of 2022, we implemented safety scores. There's 642 work units at MoDOT, and we looked at data that we had. We had data on when individuals get hurt, vehicle incidents, your training scores, how well do you drive with AVL. Again, AVL is integrated in MMS tremendously. We couldn't do some of the things we do today if it wasn't for our AVL systems. And we put a score for everyone. So when you look at this, how am I doing versus another org? The Southwest District, again, doing a great job. You look at the recordables, that's kind of a rate per 100 employees. We tell you in the Southwest District, as of right now, Tuesday is actually the most dangerous day for the last 2.5 years. That's tough stuff to go figure out, put in front of you. Look at this one, for instance. This is service at the time of incidents. Out of all the incidents that occurred this year in the Southwest District, we break this down towards years of experience. Actually, this group right here, right now, in this small time frame, it's the group of 5 to 10 years employees. You know, they've had 18 incidents. They've had 25% of all the incidents, but they make up 18% of the population. Helping us see where do we do the training? What do we change? How do we look at that information? How does it drive that down? Safety training, observations, leading indicators, our AVL scores. So just as this right here is within just the last month, we've started using a new system called the Power BI. It allows us to drill down from that incident reporting. What are we getting? So as of last week, we've had 403 unique incidents, 39 strains. That's the leading injury at MoDOT is a strain, and it's the right shoulder. Maybe it's because we have more right-handed employees. I'm not sure what that is, but it's that right shoulder. But then you think about activities. So which activities do we do internally that has the most amount of incidents? Employees hurt, equipment. Well, snow removal is always a big one, right? We had 49 incidents since the first of the year. But that blue line is labor hours worked. Sweeping is our activity we get most injuries to. And having the ability to then drive it down. So which district is it, or which area is it? How do we get better about those things. That's what's going to change how we do our work and will change how we move forward. What are we doing next? Again, MMS isn't one of those projects that was one and done. We're building upon career ladders. It's all about the employee. What's their training records? What's their leave balances? We're going to integrate better with striping and signing and mobile integration. With that, our MoDOT management system, I'm going to say, is a premier system across the entire nation. I don't know that we intended for it to be that way, but when you talk to others, it's like, I wish we had that. But it wouldn't be there if it wasn't the leadership of the commission, the leadership of our executive team to pull off something like this. Because we are confident. We plan our work better, our employees are safer, and at the end of the day, we provide a great product for the customers and our citizens of Missouri. Thank you.
Any questions for?
Well, Michael, yeah, I do. I've got 40 project directors. I wish I had one as passionate about what they're doing as you are, man. You're right on it, dude. What a great job. What a great person.
hiring.
Yeah, yeah. No. He's getting close to 80 now, I'm sure. Anyhow, what a wonderful system. So we wrote this, and you're going to go show it to 49 other people. Can we sell this?
That'd be a great idea. We're always thinking of another opportunity.
Yeah. Well, it's very comprehensive. We're going to show this to our safety people, but what a wonderful presentation. Can you measure, because you talked earlier about how everybody could get to it. Can you measure employees clicking on this?
We do have some abilities there just to see how often they might hit a certain video or hit some certain pages. The things we do know, again, just shy of 5,000 employees, but nearly 3,000 of those are in there every single day doing something. And that's that group that we struggle probably to communicate with the most. But yeah, we have some features like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool to understand. Yeah, wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, we do this type of work every day, and people that don't, what a system like this truly does is, from an operational standpoint, it allows you to not be on defense anymore and be on offense. Paper reports and all of these things are great, but you're making decisions months after the fact, or it's taking 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 hands touching that to make it happen. We're talking about stuff in real time. That's a game changer. And I'm sure launching it has not been the easiest because change is hard. But truly, I mean, from an operational standpoint, this changes the game. This allows MoDOT to be on offense rather than defense on these topics. And it's pretty doggone exciting. Appreciate the work that you and your team have done on this.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael, great presentation and just amazing work with you and the team. When we were conceiving this, one of my first budget hearings that I was here, I got to experience some questioning from Representative Roan from down in your neck of the woods, Commissioner Boatwright, and he had done some extensive estimating and research, and he took our STIP and calculated all of what he estimated to be receipts from gas sales in the area, and said, we're not getting our money's worth here. Very typical refrain. I mean, because even Springfield is not getting their money's worth, right? Every region of the state needs more. And there are always, when you're using objective criteria to carve up statewide resource and trying to allocate that, that's always a difficult process. But Representative Roan really pressed on that. And I said, well, I've got to see your figures. I don't know what you're looking at. And he looked at it and I said, oh, you're only looking at the STIPs. And he said, well, yeah, that's the projects. And I said, well, we got to plow snow. We've got to operate the system. We've got a lot of things going on that are providing services in your area. Yeah. And it was amazing because this $500 million of service was hidden in plain sight, right, on a policy basis, because we really did have, we've got a good system for tracking projects, but we did not have that same type of system internally for tracking and planning the work. This is an extraordinary amount of work that gets done. Our people were doing an amazing job with very limited tools to do it. We costed this process out from the start on the labor hours difference between that 3 minutes a day that Becky talked about of recording your work electronically and probably 10 to 15 minutes to do it manually. And this thing costed out probably 3 to 1 just on that one feature alone. So any of our technology projects, we do the cost benefit. But the idea is that we started planning the work and putting in plans for our entire maintenance operation. We started with 1 year at about 80% of program. We extended it out to 3. In each year, the team came back, change is hard. We can't do that, we can't do that. Well, we stopped at 3 and our team kept going because they can do it. They do a great job. And the development early on of this system and the collaborative approach that Michael and his team took and the work that they did, Becky's leadership, all of that to go around the state and talk to everybody and build the requirements and then to be available to modify and change. That set the table for this, which is, I think, an extraordinary leap forward for us on a safety basis. The safety module is a game changer for this organization to go in and know that it's, right shoulders on our sweeping crews in particular areas. We're going to be chasing safety incidents out of this place. And we can only do it with the information to make sure that our actions match up with what is needed. And this is the very pinnacle of the work that we do. And that's exactly what this team has produced, is an ability for us to make our workplace safer for our employees.
I had a question. In the U.S. rail industry, we have something called reportable incidents that we have to report to the Federal Railroad Administration. And the purpose of that, of course, is seeing how all the railroads compare to one another. Do you have a similar federal reporting obligation on safety incidents? And if so, to which federal agency?
I'll let Becky if she would like to respond to that.
No, we don't. Typical industries report up through OSHA. We are not under the governance of OSHA, but we set our standards a little higher than what OSHA has. So that's what we've really been chasing, as if we are regulated by OSHA, but we go a step above even their requirements.
Okay.
But the reportable, the very same concept, we do it internally.
Yeah.
So we are
But
tracking all of
not
this.
on a
Not on a
national.
national basis.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have like how we
Comparable.
compare with other states and that kind
Well,
of.
we kind of know how we compare to other states. We do have a lot of participation on that safety level within AASHTO.
Yeah.
So we compare a lot of data and we compare ourselves to some of the best in the country to see where improvements can be made and just best practices across the country. So
Yeah.
I'm making sure it's hard to get 50 DOTs to
Yeah.
track apples to apples across the board, but we think we're breaking into the upper echelon of some of the best practices and some of the safest operations in the country.
Well,
Lot more work to do, but we're certainly making a lot of progress.
Well, congratulations on being an industry leader.
Thank you, Becky and Michael. And Michael, I don't want to see you in the corner talking to Mr. Brinkman.
Keep some distance.
Next item on the agenda is a non-action item. Becky Almeroth, Brenda Morris, Chief Financial Officer, is going to present the budget. Becky, you don't want to present the budget, do you?
Not my expertise. And it is an action item. So,
Okay.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Director McKenna. Today, I'm seeking approval for the fiscal year 2024 budget. We have had an extraordinary legislative session related to our budget. Last October, the Commission approved a budget submittal of a little over $4 billion. The truly agreed and finally passed fiscal year 24 budget I'm asking you to approve today is just under $7.2 billion. Governor Parson and the General Assembly worked together to fund significant transportation infrastructure, namely $2.8 billion for I-70. The budget I'm presenting today was possible because of the hard work of many employees within MoDOT. Financial Services, led by Todd Grosvenor and Janelle Lucanati, prepared and compiled our submittal and supported it through the legislative process. Department-wide, we received assistance from divisions and districts as we addressed very specific questions and information requests throughout session. Governmental Relations, Jay Wunderlich and Aaron Hutchison provided assistance in communicating with legislators. And we also appreciated the commissioners visiting with legislators during session as well. I'm going to give a quick overview of the entire budget and to highlight some specific actions taken by the General Assembly this year. As part of the financial planning model, we have 3 important financial documents. Each serves a different purpose, but they all fit together and represent the department's spending plan. The financial forecast, which was presented to the Commission in February and updated for actions taken by the General Assembly, is the foundation for the other 2 documents. The Statewide Transportation Improvement Program, or the STIP, details out the capital and operations spending plans for the department. The draft STIP being presented today by Eric, and you'll be asked to approve that next month. The final document is the budget, which I'm presenting to you today. This pie graph shows an overview of the department's $7.2 billion budget. Not a surprise, the largest budget category is program delivery at 80%. That does include the $2.8 billion for the Improve I-70 program. But that isn't even the whole story. Most of our budget is put towards transportation work and projects. This includes funds from program delivery, safety and operations, fleet facilities and information systems, and multimodal. The budgeted funds from these areas is approximately 95% of the entire budget. The remaining parts of the budget are for administration, refunds, and fringe benefits. We are appreciative of the governor's and the General Assembly's leadership as it relates to pay. Early in session, the governor recommended and the General Assembly approved an 8.7% pay increase to be effective March 1st. The commission approved implementing this increase. Coupled with the pay actions taken by the commission last year, we are beginning to see an impact on turnover and our ability to hire staff. One highlight I'd like to share, the General Assembly approved adding 4 positions in transit. Transit's funding has tripled in the last few years with the normal state and federal funding and the COVID relief funding that was also provided. The current staff are struggling to keep up with administering all of the additional funds, and these additional positions will provide some much needed relief. The safety and operations budget has been increased $12.5 million, approximately 4%, to help defray the increasing price of roadway materials due to inflation. The increased amount focused on increases related to fuel and asphalt. With the increased emphasis on safety, the safety and operations budget includes $12.6 million for high priority safety initiatives. These include items like additional automated truck mounted attenuators, or TMAs, TMA video recording systems, so where the video clips came from earlier in the meeting, TMAs for our existing fleet, and outsourcing our safety trainings. This increase also includes an additional $2 million for paid media to educate the public about the dangers associated with risky driving behaviors to drive Missouri towards 0 roadway deaths. In addition, the safety and operation budget includes $1.9 million to implement a 6-year maintenance plan to upgrade or replace non-compliant TMAs. All TMAs must meet the Manual for Assessing Safety Hardware, MASH, Safety Compliance Guideline hardware requirements by December of 2029. The draft STIP presented today at $14 billion represents the largest 5-year construction program in Missouri history. This is due in large part to the investment funded by Governor Parson and the General Assembly. With the construction program being as large as it is, the amount of program delivery program appropriation has been increased $379 million. This increase allows us to continue to pay consultants, purchase right-of-way, and make contractor payments. In addition to the regular STIP work, the General Assembly approves some other program delivery projects. In addition to the $2.8 billion for I-70, an additional 16 road and bridge projects totaling nearly $207 million were funded with general revenue or general revenue lookalike funds. Approximately $177 million of the $207 million for 10 projects came directly from the department's high priority unfunded needs list. A couple of those projects include an additional $100 million to invest in low volume and minor roads around the state, and $20 million for an environmental impact study for corridor improvements along I-44. The remaining 6 projects totaling $29.6 million were other General Assembly designated and funded projects. Essential to the supporting of the department are investments in fleet, facilities, and information systems. The commission approved increases to this category as part of their submittal this last fall. The governor recommended and the General Assembly approved the amounts included in that submittal. Those items included an additional $10 million investment in our fleet to improve the average age and condition of MoDOT's fleet. The average age of MoDOT's fleet is 9 years and the target is 6 years. That target is based on 1/2 of the expected useful life of the equipment. An additional $4.8 million investment in our facilities to offset inflationary increases, reduce the number of facility systems in need of replacement or repair, and for capital improvement projects to meet functional needs. MoDOT maintains 514 facilities at 200 locations, and those facilities have $134 million replacement value. $1.85 million for improvements and conversions to truck parking at way stations, $4.2 million for rest areas and truck parking facilities. These facilities provide a safer and more enjoyable traveling experience to customers through providing a place of rest and information. And an additional $2 million investment in information technology. The information systems budget for the department has not been increased in over 10 years, and the additional investment is needed. The General Assembly approved several funding items related to multimodal. For transit, the department requested $15.45 million of general revenue for the State Transit Assistance Program. For fiscal year 23, the General Assembly had approved $7 million of general revenue for this program, but listed it as one-time funding. While the General Assembly did not approve our request, the General Assembly did approve $10 million of general revenue for this important program. And more importantly, they added it to the core funding for this program versus making it one-time funding. The Missouri State Transit Assistance Program is one of the smallest state programs nationally. These funds will be used for operating assistance to help support transit operating deficits for public transit agencies and for match to purchase transit vehicles through federal programs MoDOT administers. This again brings the funding for this program back up to the levels we experienced in the early 2000s. The General Assembly appropriated enough general revenue to support twice daily passenger rail service between St. Louis and Kansas City. And in addition, multimodal also had 8 General Assembly designated and funded projects totaling $52.4 million. Of the 8, 5 projects totaling $49.2 million were projects from the high priority unfunded needs list. These projects include a rail spur, improvements at airports, and investments at port facilities. The commission's submittal included $50 million of general revenue for the railroad grade crossing safety program. The General Assembly approved the department's request and included $10 million placeholder for any federal discretionary grants we are successful in receiving. There are over 6,500 highway rail crossings in Missouri. Of these, 4,381 crossings are public and 2,183 crossings are private. Out of the 4,381 public crossings, over 3,300 are at-grade railroad crossings, with approximately 85% located off the state highway system. About 43% of the at-grade crossings are passive, with most being on the local system versus being on the state system. Passive crossings are those that lacked active warning devices to indicate if a train is coming. 98% of the passive crossings are located on a city or county road. Over the last 5 years, 53% of the fatalities at railroad crossings in Missouri occurred at passive crossings. This funding will increase the number of crossings with active warning devices, which will improve the safety at many of these crossings. This funding will allow the department to complete the equivalent of 6 years' worth of projects that the current program could accomplish. The current estimated cost to upgrade all public passive railroad crossings with flashing lights and gates is approximately $700 million. Again, a very successful legislative budget this year. The governor still needs to sign the budget bills, but today we're recommending that the commission approve the budget as presented. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? Commissioner?
Well, Brenda, let me thank you for being a good steward of the financial reporting. I've just observed, I think you do a wonderful job in financial management, and with all the money that's coming in, that's an even bigger job. Clearly, the legislature has trusted us with a lot of new projects and a lot of new spending, and your financial management of that is an essential part of that program. Just doing some rough math, it looks to me like we've got about a 75% increase in budget in 1 year. And we're managing all of that and all these projects with about the same management team that we've had at the lower level. That's remarkable. And it bears calling out that we are managing so much more with virtually no additional oversight, management oversight. That's remarkable. I couldn't do that in the rail industry. So I think that's something the public needs to understand and appreciate, the degree to which MoDOT is managing more projects with the same people. I'm not sure how much longer we can do that. But I want to thank all of the people who are involved in that. And of course, want to thank the governor and the legislature for entrusting us with that. And I know we'll do a good job. And of course, I want to mention the incredible work the department can now do on railroad grade crossing safety. That is certainly an area where we can do better and will do better. And those funds will make that possible with the cooperation of the host railroads and county and municipalities who govern most of those crossings. So job well done, thanks, and I hope we're able to continue the trend.
Thank you for those kind words. I have a fabulous team.
Patrick?
And I'd just say that thank you for teeing up what we'll be bringing to you in August for our fiscal 25 budget request. So more to follow.
Okay, since this is an action item, I would entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 2024 budget.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Brenda. Next item on the agenda is a non-action item. Eric Kurdick, Transportation Planning Director, will present the draft STIP. Welcome, Eric.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Director McKenna, Madam Secretary. I'm Eric Kurdick, Transportation Planning Director for MoDOT. I'm here with the STIP that if it's 3 inches thick is worth about $5 billion an inch. Normally we're here in May, but we waited for legislative session to end because of the excitement, and we've incorporated everything from session into this STIP that I'll present to you today. The draft STIP is MoDOT's 5-year plan. It's commitment to Missourians about what we'll do, what projects we'll deliver in that horizon. And it encompasses, as Brenda mentioned, similar graphic you've seen just a minute ago, the financial forecast, the operating budget, and the overall STIP. It is a great document to present today, the largest STIP in Missouri's history. So how does that happen? MoDOT uses something called the planning framework. There's an old saying about politics being local. I don't really understand that. I understand transportation is local. Transportation is very local, and as you can see, this map depicts all metropolitan planning organizations and regional planning commissions in the state. They're made up of locally elected officials. MoDOT staff helps them along. Sarah Edwards leads the Springfield one in this portion of the state, who just spoke earlier. But this really is the key to our STIPs development. It's a bottom-up decision-making process. It's not top-down where the state DOT says, here's the STIP, hope you like it, local. We really know that we need the input of locals around the state to make the best decisions we can with the scarce resources we have. And they're made up of, these entities are made up of every kind of person you would want, individual to make great decisions, whether it be private sector, individuals, citizens, special transportation providers, or your local run-of-the-mill city and county managers and leadership. As Brenda mentioned in her presentation, the last financial forecast was we had contractor awards at about $1.53 billion a year. In this STIP, we're at $10 billion over the horizon, a sizable increase you can see here when you add in the investments from the General Assembly along with the federal and state and local investments into this STIP, bringing it almost to $3 billion a year in this program. Asset management, Missourians have said for a long time when we engage them about what is their priority for the system, it is maintain what you have before you expand the system. That continues to be the theme of this STIP, to take care of the 34,500 miles of road and approximately 10,400 bridges on our system. Today, the asset management focuses a lot on we categorize the system this way, with majors, minors, and low volume roads, and then structures. Today, I can tell you some new numbers from what happened last year. We're at 804 poor bridges now. The majors highway system, it's about 5,500 miles. Last year, we fell below 90% of our condition rating. That's our goal. We hit 89.2. That portion of the system also carries 76% of the system's travel. Also on this map is the minor roads. It's 17,500 miles of road, and they're at 80.7% good condition, and they carry approximately 22% of the travel on the state system. That condition rating stayed about the same. Where we saw a large movement in condition was the low volume system. This system is about 11,000 miles of road on our state system. It carries 2% of the travel, and it climbed from 71% good condition to 74.3% good condition through the investments that we'll talk about here in a minute. A breakdown, if you look at the first 3 years of the STIP, here this slide depicts the difference between the last STIP and this one. You can see an increase in asset management, 3%, and a decrease in system improvement or the traditional expansion type projects from 20 to 17. And then there's other, you've got to have something. There's some projects that just don't fit. There are things like emergency response, ITS, on-call work zones, those kinds of projects that are in the STIP, and they stayed at 6%. This is a breakdown of the first 3 years of what we'll be doing on bridges and pavements. And as you've heard, we had some inflation impacts I'm going to talk about in a second, but that really limited our ability to add new projects to the STIP, and I'll itemize those later. When you look at pavements in the last STIP, we did a little over 19,000 miles of work we were touching. The increase that you see on this slide is primarily I-70. There's not a lot of addition there, but if you think about how many miles of road that is and how many lanes, that is what that is. And then you see a drop to where we weren't adding as many bridges to this STIP. So one of the great things about the commission is your funding distribution and the objective criteria that we use to distribute funds. This is an example of 1 year. The first year of the STIP is 24, where there's 1.5 billion available after we take off things that we need to, that we have available to distribute throughout the state. We take $58 million for safety. That objective criteria used for that is fatalities and serious injuries. We have asset management, takes into account the size and the usage of your system. There's $829 million distributed in year 24 for that. And then the remainder of the funds that are left over fall into system improvement. That's $621 million. And then It is distributed based on population and employment. And here's the least popular slide in America, or Missouri at least. So this STIP is impacted by about $1.2 billion in inflation. Basically a year's worth of funding in our last 2 years, or 2 years ago's funding levels. So we ask everybody every year to re-estimate their jobs. And forever, that's kind of been like looks good, because inflation really hasn't impacted us. This year, when we did that for the jobs that were in the 23 to 27 STIP that are still in the horizon of the 24 to 28, that's nearly $900 million increase in program costs. When we factor into program versus award, so Travis was talking earlier about program award for 23. 23 is not over, but 22 is. And in the year 22, we had $100 million in inflation on basic difference between program and award. And we estimate what Travis has said is somewhere between $230 and $300 million for year 23's program versus award differences. Because all this inflation too, we had to do some schedule adjustments from 54 jobs that moved from the year 23 into year 24. And then, as Patrick mentioned, there was 362 jobs that their schedule was adjusted within this. This STIP has 1,503 projects within it. Now, of those 1,503, sometimes we have to delete something. It's like cardinal sin if you do it the wrong way. But when we delete projects in the STIP, we had 15 that were deleted from the STIP. They're largely because it was accomplished through another project, or a route project was divided into two, and technically that's a deletion in our system. No bids were received, or the public said, hey, we don't need that project anymore. So 15 out of 1,500 is a pretty good record when you look at that. The projects that were added, we added 61. We have to add certain things to keep the system running that are actually in the STIP: operational jobs, safety jobs, jobs that have project funding from other folks, FFOS funding from other sources were added. 61 of those, and then 51 from the General Assembly's work this year were added. So 112 added this year. Last year, we added 781 projects. So a few of the highlights here. Big animal, I-70, $2.8 billion is in this draft STIP. Again, with the rural routes, $100 million also for that. $161 million of other types of projects. The Great Crossing Safety Improvement of $50 million. $30 million for Kansas City Public Ports. $32 million for other multimodal projects. All this is subject to the governor's approval, of course. We're just trying to be as ready as humanly possible to go. Last year, too, I reported to you kind of a look at what is in the STIP on the minor and the low volume system. This year, within this STIP, it's $1.74 billion on that system. And if you think about, too, the low volume minor routes, they're traditionally not in the STIP. So there's a sizable amount of investment that has been made in that system to address those level of service disparities that we see around the state. And here's a little summary of that. So your asset management deficit program, coupled with the legislature's rural route funding, has added $308 million to those assets that the state owns. In addition, there's $43 million from our own operating forces that are being done on those portions of the system for a total of $352 million. That's, when I talked about earlier pavement condition on low volume moving from 71 to 74, it's from this page. We are in the Southwest. Within the STIP, we have our maintenance work programs. Michael and his team work hard to develop good plans about what we're going to do over the next 3 years. Those plans are also included into the STIP. You can see just kind of where work is going, and it's everywhere according to that map, and it's true. There's a lot of stuff going on. The map covers 3 years, as I said, and it's, bridge deck, sealing, flushing, pavement repair, pipe replacement, all those great things that kind of go unnoticed, but really make the system hum. And our maintenance division has really gotten really good at continually improving their plans. It's really a bit of culture change at MoDOT. Within multimodal section 7, there's 792 million is their estimated program summary for projects or other modes. And then there was 112 million itemized for multimodal from the legislatively designated and funded initiatives. And that includes the $50 million on railroad crossing. That is a sizable program. It's $904 million. Multimodal approaching $1 billion within the STIP is good. And this too is subject, the 112 million is subject to the governor's approval as well. So what do I need today? No action from me today. We'll be back in July, but today we'll begin our public comment period. Now there's 4 ways of providing public comment on the STIP: calling 888-ASK-MoDOT, mail in your comments, email our comments to stipcomments@modot.mo.gov, or on our web, there's a form that you can fill out and submit any comments to us. Again, we'll bring back the final for your consideration in July at your meeting. And thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Eric. Any questions or comments?
No question, but a comment. It's mind-boggling how you do this. You must have some help, right?
They don't turn me loose. I have some great help.
Yeah, it's a shame that we're seeing 20% inflation here, but that's the bad news. The good news is got more money. So it's just, we've come a long way in the last 4 or 5 years. It's just been wonderful. Good job.
Thank
you. Patrick, any?
Yeah, if you think of that first asset management slide where you had the primary system, and if you go back to those days when we were talking, I don't think the public recognizes that the plan, the actual plan that we had on a 5-year look forward that we were able to intercept and wrestle to the ground and not do, was that all of the road work off of that system was not going to be maintained. We had nothing in the budget to maintain 26,000 miles of a 34,000 mile road system. And what a difference we'd be experiencing in this state right now, but for the efforts that we talked about early on of the public, our partners, the General Assembly, the governor, the commission, all of those actions. But that would have been a devastating impact for Missouri. And I don't think Missourians really fully appreciated just how close to that edge we were. And now you see investment levels on the minor and low volume roads that are at the level of what our whole system investment was back then. So that's why we're seeing some improvement in condition there, and to be able to keep that up with the governor's approval, hopefully soon on the budget, to be able to continue to make that progress. What a great thing for the state of Missouri. And to Eric and your team, we've put them through the ringer on multiple rounds of the STIP updating systems while we're doing it. They're just doing a great job. So thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. We now come to the public comment period. Members of the public who did not schedule a presentation before the commission may speak to the commission on transportation-related issues by having signed in at the registration desk by 9:30 a.m. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per person, 10 minutes per topic. Madam Secretary, do we have anyone signed up for public comment? The first that we have is Tiffany Nichols and Tom Fowler with State Bank of Southwest Missouri. Welcome.
Good morning, Chairman Ecker, Commissioners, Director McKenna. My name is Tom Fowler. I'm President of State Bank of Southwest Missouri. We're located at 3310 East Sunshine, Springfield, Missouri. And I'm pleased to have the opportunity to speak to you today about a project that you've been planning in Springfield, which includes, among other things, putting a median down the middle of Sunshine Street. Sunshine Street, for those of you who don't know, in my judgment, is the predominant east-west retail street in Springfield. And by retail, I mean a street where you can buy a sandwich or go to a drive-in restaurant or eat a meal or buy a greeting card or go to the pharmacy or a bank. There are about 15 of them between 65 and Glenstone. Or the cleaners, or buy gas, or go to one of 4 new car dealers, or go to Walmart or Sam's, or buy coffee, or get your hair cut. It's very retail. Other east-west streets like Battlefield and Chestnut Expressway have medians. So most of these businesses are not on those streets because the access to them is severely limited. They're office buildings or they back up to residential areas, et cetera. It is the feeling of almost every business that we've contacted that a median would severely harm their business. So far, we have about 90 businesses that have signed on saying this will be a very bad thing for us. And we probably have 200. We haven't worked on it in the last couple of months because I understand this project is maybe delayed a little bit, but we'll probably have at least 200. They range in size from very, very small to Walmart and Sam's Club, who all oppose it. In addition, the city council, the county commission, the U.S. congressman, the Missouri Secretary of State, the sheriff, the county clerk, both the state senators in this area, most of the state representatives have expressed their concerns to you on a median in letters to you. In fact, almost everyone that we've talked to is opposed to this project. The median will also force traffic to small feeder streets as people try to circle around and get back to the business that they seek. This will create a huge traffic concern on those already clogged small streets. I'm sure that all the residents, I haven't talked to many of them yet. We haven't, most of them are not aware of this project. I think when they become aware of it, they're going to be very, very concerned and very opposed to this project. So our request is that you seriously consider removing the median part and the limited access part of this project. We think it will have a very negative impact on the economy of the street, of the city of Springfield, and of the county, and of the property values there. So I thank you very much for listening to me. If any of you have any questions, we'd be pleased to answer them. We've sent you a packet before. We'll soon be sending you an updated packet of the businesses that oppose this project.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler, for sharing your concerns. We have heard and understand your concerns, and we just encourage you to keep working with the Southwest District Engineer, Stacy Reese, and her team as we move forward.
Great. We'd be
Thanks.
pleased to do that. Thank you, sir.
Typically, at the end of each meeting, we like to provide the commission members the opportunity to share any concerns or comments they may have. Today, I will start with Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's nice of you. Appreciate that. No, it's good to be in Springfield. I want to thank the chamber last night for hosting the event. It was a good time. It's always good to come down here and see you, Mayor, and all the good people in Greene County, Matt, and all of you, Sarah, my friend Sarah. She contacts me quite a bit, but anyway, I appreciate her enthusiasm and hard work. I don't have a lot to say, just to echo on Commissioner Brinkman's report there early. 341 fatalities, and we're not even halfway through the year. It's horrible. That's someone's loved one, someone's parent, someone's sibling, someone's grandpa. I can't imagine my grandkids without me.
Yeah,
but
that'd be hard.
Yeah, it would be. You'd have a hard time without me.
Oh,
wouldn't you?
yeah, Grandpa would.
Anyway, it's we've just got to continue to work on all this stuff. And as Patrick said, you know, here in 2014, 15, 16, when we were looking at 325 million maybe, and where we're at today, it's a huge move, and a huge thanks to to Senator Lincoln Huff for all of his hard work on the I-70. And really, Governor Parsons' leadership has been extraordinary, and all that he's done for the state, from the governor's bridge to just everything. It's amazing what a old country boy from Polk County's done, and we really do appreciate him. So anyway, thank you to the team, Pam, all of you, Stacy, I appreciate it. I'm going to stand to what I told you earlier, wherever you're at. I see you back there. So anyway, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Erdman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Great to be in Springfield. Always learn a lot when we're down here, very substantive. Want to thank Commissioner Russell, Mayor Ken McClure. I know you're doing a lot of good work down here. Appreciate that. Earlier, we talked about this being an historic celebratory year. Probably not going to see one like this again. And we should celebrate, and we will. We should celebrate that the state's investing in its transportation for the first time in a long time. And that is really a remarkable thing to be part of. But when you look at the project growth and you realize that we're increasing our budget in 1 year by 75%, and you understand that 80% of our spending is going to project delivery, you very quickly realize how much more we are doing without corresponding management. And as one in the transportation industry, this concerns me, and I know the director and his staff and team are going to be talking about this. I'm not sure how much longer we can do this, but we're doing a hell of a job with it. And as a commissioner, I'm grateful. The other thing I'm interested in is capacity. The public needs to understand that there is limited capacity in the contractor world. And we're putting a lot of projects out, a lot more than we've ever done. And the contractor community is responding, but that capacity doesn't just increase overnight. And so there will be some degree of patience required. There will be some degree of additional funding of operational staff. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We do a remarkable job with what we have. And those are some of the challenges the commission will meet in the future. I have every confidence that we'll do that. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Erdman. Commissioner Brickman?
Yeah, thank you. So it's good to get out of Jeff City, and it's better to get to Springfield, I'll tell you that. The sun's shining, and I heard a bird sing this morning. So thank you, Mayor, for having such a nice town. And what a wonderful facility this is. Robert, I don't know if you're in here, but thank you for your tour yesterday. What you're doing for not just this region, for the state is unbelievable. We get to go to a lot of cool places and see a lot of cool things, but this is right at the top. So congratulations for having that here. And also to Michael for your management system again. What a great deal that is. I think we should discuss what we're going to charge for that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Brickman. Commissioner Boatright?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. To echo some of the points that Commissioner Erdman made, it's fun at this, all of this heavy lifting's been done up to this point. Now we have the funding. And for a nerdy engineer like me, now the fun starts. But there's going to be, there's certainly, it's been mentioned multiple times today, there's going to be challenges in front of us. And, but it's an exciting time. And I truly think that the folks in this room will accept those challenges with open arms, and we will get this work in the ground quickly. I think we have a really good opportunity, in business. You have these waves of times where you get really busy and times where you're not as busy. And I think that as far as innovation, as far as looking at processes, looking at the things and how you're doing it, I think the busy times really flesh out the things that you truly need and the things that aren't as important that maybe don't need to be done. So I think we have a tremendous opportunity in front of us. Super excited to see this level of investment, having that blueprint. And you're going to hear me say this probably even until I'm off the commission, but having the blueprint that we can fund transportation from general revenue is such a huge thing for our state, or for our future in the state and for our future generations. I mean, we're at this point in 2023, putting some of those same generational investments in place that our grandfathers and great-grandfathers put in for us that we've reaped the benefits of. So it's such a wonderful opportunity. And truly, this group at MoDOT, our construction, our industry partners in the construction field, our consultants that are in the room, all of these folks that have to come together and make these things happen on the ground, execute this work. It's just, I couldn't pick a better group than this group we have in Missouri. So it's just so exciting. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Boatright. I would just like to echo a lot of the similar things that have been said. I just want to thank the mayor for being the host city, and Matt and the chamber for hosting us last night, and then for OTC and providing this venue for us to have our meetings. It's been totally spectacular. This is a beautiful place. And the credit that we keep giving to Senator Huff and to the governor is well deserved. But I want to thank every one of you in this room, whether you work for MoDOT or OTO or the commission, the county commission, because if it wasn't for all of us as a team effort working for years, and this year especially helping out in the state legislature and talking to leaders, we wouldn't be at this historic time in Missouri transportation and Missouri infrastructure. So thanks to each and every one of you. And before we close, I just want to remind what we talked about. We're going to have 1,000 construction zones. So everybody be safe when you're out there driving, enjoying your summer vacation. Just be aware of those construction zones and buckle up and phone down. So before we adjourn, I want to make note that our next meeting is scheduled for July 12th, and we'll be meeting in St. Charles. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.